Right, I've rewritten the question, but this time let's, rather than actually looking at this, the structural features of what that question says, let's actually have a look at some of those key words. What is the question about? This catches out fifth form and just about everyone. Look at the question. How does the writer use language and structure to show their thoughts and feelings? What is the question about?
The writer.
The question is about the writer, yes. It's not about the words, it's about what the writer does with their words. Okay? So, this is what the question's about. It's their writer. And therefore, their feelings. That's what the question is about. The question is not about the words. The question is about what they do with those words to tell you about themselves. So what we then need to do is go, well, okay, they're going to use language, obviously, and then they're going to do stuff with their words to show me what they're thinking and what they're feeling. And then they're going to put all of those ideas into an order, which is hopefully going to show me the way those thoughts and feelings are working inside their heads. Sounds all very simple when you say it out loud, but what we then need to do is actually go into the text to find out how that's occurring. Okay? So with that in mind then, as a seamless link, let's have a look at the actual text that we have in front of us. So open your text and make sure that you can see it. And we'll start with passage or narwhals.
No, just keep drawing.
Should we do the narwhals? Because we had a massive impact on that one, didn't we?
My content lenses do that at night, and then
We ready?
and then it makes noises when I blink because they get so dark.
Now,
Really, it's kind of cool.
we've read the text, we've analysed the text, we've gone through the text, we've highlighted it, we've got loads and loads of notes. Now what we need to do is write those up. But there is a process that we need to go through in order to plan. If you don't plan, your ideas are basically going to be shooting from the hip, and there is not going to be a structure and a fluidity to what you're saying. You need to spend a decent amount of time planning, getting it in your head exactly what you're going to write, and therefore put it down. So really, side and a half for 12 marks isn't a huge amount. Okay, probably a little bit too much for you to be able to write because you haven't got that much time. Okay, so we're dealing with the writer's thoughts and feelings. So what is the first thing we need to work out?
Writer.
Well, we know who the writers are, but we need to know what their thoughts and feelings are. We need to know what they're thinking. Okay, let's do the narwhal first because James is here and he's got those notes. We'll start with that one first. So, what does Carrie Herbert either think or feel? Anything, doesn't matter where, because at the moment we're just going to put these ideas down and then we will create the plan. Well,
first paragraph, he's thinking about like how like majestic and like.
lovely. Okay, so the first one. Majestic and beautiful. That's her thought. How does it make her feel? Bearing in mind, she will never say, and I felt this. So the feeling has to be an interpretation. You've got to be able to read in between the lines and go, well, she obviously isn't revolted by this. She's not disgusted by these narwhals. Therefore, what is her reaction? So she thinks they're majestic and beautiful. What is her reaction to that? So skim and scan and see what you think. We're not doing the evidence just yet, but skim and scan and see what you can find.
She's excited.
Astounded.
She's astounded, she's excited. So excitement as well, okay? So excited. Is there a sense that she's in awe?
Yes.
Good. Okay. So she thinks that they're majestic and beautiful, which is what she's thinking of them, and it makes her feel excited. It makes her feel in awe. Thought, feelings. Tick. Tick. Okay. Can you now please see if you can find me a line number where the quote is that you can use for either or both? So we then need to find our evidence. Ollie, give me one.
Line 7.
For which side?
Second one. Take right.
So she's excited and in awe.
Oh,
It
intake.
says intake of breath. Sharp intake of breath.
Is
Yep.
that the start of it?
Yeah, it's like the first.
Okay, so line 7. Good, so
It's at the end of line 6.
No, it's at the start of 7.
Yeah, but we're just doing it at the end of the
anyone give me evidence for the majestic and beautiful bit?
Spectral play of colour. Line 3 and repeated 4.
So we're going to have spectral play of colour. Good.
Glittering kingdom.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Is that one?
Good. So have we gone into close language analysis? Have we gone into a close reference and close detail?
Yeah.
We have. Are our quotes brief?
Yeah.
Yes, they are. So we've got a tick and a tick. And then we've got tick and tick. We're doing well. When you do your planning, you won't need to do this. Because when you get the text, it will be clean, I think. And then you can pick out your key quotes. Again, you can kind of annotate it. And what I suggest you do is annotate thought with a TH, with an F with a feeling. And then join them up. So that feeling and that thought are connected. Okay? Okay, so that's in the opening paragraph. Does that change though?
Yeah.
How does that change? What happens?
She goes on saying why she needs it.
It becomes really factual. So her thoughts become very informed. They become very formal as well, don't they? So then the thoughts become formal, informed, and factual. Lovely. Any evidence? What line can we use?
Oh, like the matak of blubber, because that's like factual knowledge.
Yep, so line 18.
Yeah, something like that. 6, 7, yeah.
How is she feeling? How is she reacting? When she's very, very formal, very factual and informed. She's using lots of jargon, isn't she? So is she separate? Is she emotional about it at this point?
No.
Therefore, think about what we said on this side over here. She's reaction-less. She's emotion-less. Because she's dealing with facts. She can separate herself from the event that she is recalling as a child. And you can acknowledge that. So it's emotionless. And again, there's anything that you can use, really.
In the place where climate.
And you don't necessarily, if it is emotionless, you don't necessarily have to have a specific piece of evidence. You can refer to a fact that there is a lack of emotion because she is able to separate herself as an adult. She's not writing this as a child. She's writing this as an adult, recalling her experiences when her family moved her to Greenland. So one paragraph is her remembering the event as a child. The other half of her is another paragraph saying, okay, now as an adult, I'm rationalising this and I can understand this, I've done the research, I know the facts. And then she goes back to her emotions as a child and then back to her reactions as an adult. Okay? So the detail that we can then add in here is that she's writing as an adult. She's formalising the entire process and therefore rationalising the history and the cultural importance of these narwhal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What does she do next? When does she next change her tone?
Oh, like her actually like watching it.
Yeah, so we go back on line 33 and words like the women clustered. Molly?
What does it say after and the last like
Cultural importance of hunt.
Okay.
Rationalise. History? Well,
The last paragraph, speaking about her experiences.
and she goes back, doesn't she? So let's go back to her thoughts. What is she thinking? Let's have a look at the last bit on page 6. What is she thinking or feeling?
Excited.
Lucy? No. Becky? So understanding that this is a source to do with their survival, okay, as a small child. So do we have an understanding here?
Yeah.
Good, okay, so understanding. Okay, so she's this understanding of the Inuit people. Good. Do we get a feeling, a reaction?
They kind of like have to do it. Like they have to hunt the narwhals.
Does she resent them? Does she does it
excited.
dawn on her? Is she quite quiet about it? Does she respect the fact that this is what they have to do?
Yeah.
Yeah? Later, because she herself, I think, battles. She can't reconcile. She simply can't do it. Okay, but you can understand it. I get it. I respect the fact that you need to survive. I just don't agree. Okay? No, she doesn't say she doesn't agree, and that's the whole purpose by the fact that she will never tell us exactly, which is why we have to interpret. Okay, so maybe she's reacting with a growing respect.
What does it say after survival of?
Inuit. Thoughts? Feelings? No, I'm not going to give you a quote this time. Okay? But I am going to do this. because there is more. What I would like you to do then is to continue that as part and parcel of your homework. Okay? But what I would like to do now before the bell goes, 10 minutes or so, is to actually have a go at starting to write this. Okay? So what are our 4 areas? And funnily enough, they are also on the board.
What?
How, why, so.
Good. What do we know? How is this shown in the text? How does the writer use language? How are they presenting those ideas? That's where we can do some really, really lovely analysis. Why is this important? But it's why is it important to the writer? Because remember, this is about who?
The writer. The writer.
This is about the explorer's daughter, who was called Carrie Herbert. The question is entirely about her and what she's doing. So the next bit is like, why is it important? Why is it important to her? Why is it important that we understand what's going on? So this bit involves the writer. And in brackets, I'm going to put the reader as well.
I'm gonna just finish off.
And then there's the so what? So why is she writing this? What is her point? What is her message? Okay, and it is going to be about this fact that she's unable to reconcile, to balance these things out. She cannot get over her own prejudices, if you will. Okay? Make sense?